Today, if winter gets too cold, we turn on the heater. We put on a jacket. We close the door, sleep under a blanket, and wait for morning. But thousands of years ago, humans faced a winter that did not end after one season. The world was colder, drier, darker, and more dangerous. Giant ice sheets covered huge parts of the planet. Animals were bigger. Food was harder to find. The wind could cut through skin like a silent knife. And humans, compared to the creatures around them, looked almost impossible. No thick fur, no claws, no natural armor, no night vision, no warm house, no supermarket, no hospital, just skin, bones, fire, tools, and a brain that refused to quit. So how did humans survive the Ice Age? The strange truth is this: humans probably should not have survived by strength alone. A mammoth was stronger. A wolf was faster. A cave lion had better weapons built into its face. Even reindeer were better designed for the cold. Humans were soft animals in a frozen world. A baby human could not run after birth. A child needed years of care. An injured adult could slow down the whole group. If survival was only about muscle, humans would have been erased by the cold. But the Ice Age was not won by the strongest body. It was won by the smartest group. First, humans had to solve the biggest enemy of all: cold. Cold does not attack like an animal. It does not roar. It does not chase. It simply waits. It takes heat from your fingers, then your feet, then your thoughts. In extreme cold, the body starts spending energy just to stay alive. If you cannot keep warm, you cannot hunt, you cannot travel, you cannot protect your children, and eventually you cannot think clearly. So Ice Age humans had to build warmth before they built anything else. Fire became their tiny sun. It gave heat, light, protection, and cooked food. Around fire, meat became safer and easier to eat. Frozen fingers could move again. Children could sleep closer to warmth. Predators could see smoke and flame and hesitate. But fire was not simple. A fire had to be fed. Wood had to be collected. Embers had to be protected from rain, snow, and wind. A fire was almost like another member of the group. It needed care. If it died, the night became colder, darker, and more dangerous. So humans learned to guard fire like treasure. But fire alone was not enough. You cannot carry a campfire on your skin while walking across frozen ground. So humans invented something even more powerful: clothing. Not fashion at first, survival. Animal hides became a second skin. Fur trapped warm air close to the body. Scraped hides became softer. Sinew, plant fibers, bone awls, and needles helped people stitch pieces together. This mattered because loose fur is helpful, but fitted clothing is a different level of technology. It covers gaps. It protects the neck, arms, legs, hands, and feet. A human wearing stitched animal skins could walk farther from shelter, hunt longer, and survive cold that bare skin could never handle. Think about how powerful that is. A needle looks tiny. It does not look like a weapon. It does not roar like fire. But in the Ice Age, a needle could be the difference between a living child and a frozen one. A small bone tool could turn dead animal skin into boots, gloves, cloaks, and sleeping covers. Humans were not just wearing nature, they were redesigning it. Then came shelter. Not always houses like today, but protection. A cave, a rock overhang, a windbreak, a hut of wood and hides, even structures made with mammoth bones in places where trees were rare. The goal was simple: stop the wind, trap the heat, and keep the group together. A rock wall behind a fire could reflect warmth back into the shelter. Hides could block freezing air. A low entrance could keep warmth from escaping too fast. The first shelters were not luxury. They were survival machines. Imagine an Ice Age family at night. Outside, the wind moves across open land. Snow or dust blows over the ground. Somewhere far away, wolves are calling. Inside a shelter, people sit near a fire. A child is wrapped in hide. Someone scrapes an animal skin. Someone repairs a spear. Someone watches the entrance. The fire cracks. Smoke rises. The group is tired, hungry, and cold, but alive. That small circle of warmth is not just a camp. It is a fortress against the planet. But staying warm was only one problem. Humans also had to eat. And the Ice Age was not a giant freezer full of easy meals. Food moved. Herds migrated. Plants changed with the seasons. rivers froze. Some landscapes became dry and empty. A group that stayed in the wrong place for too long could starve. So humans had to understand movement. They followed herds. They learned animal tracks. They knew where rivers, valleys, caves, and hunting grounds were. They remembered where food appeared at certain times of year. Survival depended on memory. Large animals could feed many people, but hunting them was dangerous. A mammoth, bison, horse, or reindeer was not waiting politely to become dinner. These animals could crush, kick, run, or gore a human in seconds. So humans hunted with planning, not just bravery. They used spears, traps, teamwork, cliffs, mud, snow, and patience. One person alone against a mammoth was almost nothing. A group with tools and a plan was different. They could surround, drive, wait, strike, and share the food afterward. And they used almost everything. Meat was food, fat was energy, bones could become tools, hides became clothing and shelter, sinew became cord, antlers became points, teeth and shells could become decoration. Nothing was just trash. In the Ice Age, waste was weakness. A dead animal was not only dinner, it was a toolbox, a wardrobe, a blanket, a tent, and sometimes fuel. That is one of the biggest secrets of Ice Age survival. Humans turned problems into materials. Cold animal skins became warm clothing. Sharp bones became needles. Stone became blades. Fire became protection. Snowy ground became a tracking page. A dangerous herd became food for the whole group. Humans did not survive because the Ice Age was easy. They survived because they learned how to read it. Tools made this possible. A stone blade could cut meat. A scraper could clean hides. A needle could sew clothing. A spear point could turn a wooden stick into a hunting weapon. A basket or bag could carry food. These tools were small, but together they gave humans powers their bodies did not have. Humans had weak claws, so they made sharper ones. Humans had thin skin, so they made thicker skin. Humans had no built-in shelter, so they built it outside their bodies. Every tool was an answer to a weakness. But the smartest survival strategy was not always fighting the cold. Sometimes it was leaving. Ice Age humans were mobile. They moved when food moved. They avoided places that became too dangerous or empty. They found refuges, valleys, coasts, river systems, caves, and regions where life was still possible. Survival was not about standing still and proving toughness. It was about knowing when to move, where to move, and how to come back when the world changed again. This is why humans spread across so many environments. They were not locked into one habitat like many animals. They could live near rivers, in grasslands, near forests, near coasts, and in frozen regions. Their bodies were not perfect for every place, but their behavior could change. That was their superpower. A wolf survives by being an excellent wolf. A mammoth survives by being an excellent mammoth. Humans survived by not being trapped as one thing. They could become hunters, gatherers, fishers, tool makers, clothing makers, shelter builders, fire keepers, and storytellers. And storytelling mattered more than people think. In the Ice Age, knowledge was survival. Which berries are safe? Which tracks belong to wolves? Where do the herds cross the valley? What does thin ice sound like? How do you keep a fire alive in wind? Where did someone die last winter? This information had to be remembered and shared. Before books, the group was the library. Elders carried maps in their memories. Parents taught children by showing, warning, repeating, and telling stories around the fire. Every lesson kept someone alive later. That means the Ice Age did not only shape human tools, it shaped human relationships. A selfish human could survive one day. A sharing group could survive a winter. Food had to be divided. Children had to be protected. Injured people had to be helped when possible. Knowledge had to be passed down. A group that worked together had more eyes, more hands, more memory, more warmth, and more chances. In a frozen world, kindness was not just nice. It was useful. But we should not imagine Ice Age humans as miserable all the time. They were not simply suffering in silence. They made art. They decorated objects. They likely sang, danced, laughed, mourned, taught, and imagined. Even in a cold world, humans created meaning. That might sound small compared to fire and food, but it is not. A group that believes tomorrow matters will fight harder to reach it. Hope is not soft. Sometimes hope is a survival tool. Still, the Ice Age was brutal. People died from cold, hunger, injury, infection, and predators. Children did not always survive. Hunts could fail, fires could go out, storms could trap people for days. One mistake could cost everything. We should not make it look easy. The Ice Age was not a challenge level in a game. It was real life, and the cost of failure was final. So when we say humans shouldn't have survived, we do not mean survival was impossible. We mean that, on paper, humans looked badly designed for that world. Too little fur, too slow, too weak, too dependent on children, too fragile against cold. But evolution gave humans something unusual. Not one perfect survival feature, but the ability to combine many small ones. Fire plus clothing, clothing plus shelter, shelter plus tools, tools plus teamwork, teamwork plus memory, memory plus movement. One advantage was not enough. Together they became unstoppable. That is how humans survived the Ice Age. They did not punch the cold. They outplanned it. They did not grow fur. They made it. They did not become faster than wolves. They became harder to hunt. They did not wait for the world to become comfortable. They carried comfort with them in the form of fire, hide, stone, bone, and each other. And maybe that is the most powerful part of the story. The Ice Age did not destroy humans. It trained them. It forced them to become better toolmakers, better planners, better hunters, better parents, better storytellers, and better survivors. The frozen world tried to shrink human life down to nothing. Instead, humans learned to make warmth in the dark. So the next time you step into a warm room on a cold night, remember this. Somewhere deep in your history, your ancestors stood under an Ice Age sky with no heater, no house, and no guarantee of morning. They had only a fire, a group, and the will to keep going. And somehow, that was enough.